Hello everyone. Thank you joining me and the Tibetan Buddhist Society of Canberra. Our Sunday morning meditation followed by a talk. I should say Happy Father's Day. Every day really, but they specifically nominate this Sunday. Appears to be the first Sunday in September. For some reason, maybe it's because of spring in Australia. I don't in Australia. In any case, it should be one. If one can afford it, one should have a good, happy day every day. Thank you. So, with this morning, as usual, secure your space of meditation to be free of all, I would say, noise or interruptions. So, because you want to have a quiet space in order the meditation will continue. So, so in order to do that, we will use a short prayer at the beginning. I will do the refuge and the four immeasurables. Refuge is try to bring our mind in a safe state of being, knowing the Buddha, the amazing teaching that which points us to our mind. Often we are always thinking of someone, something. When we think of the Buddha and his teaching, it always makes us to look within our own mind. It is what it is doing, not being so opinionated about outside people or things, but what is it that our mind is doing. So when we're doing that, we're really safe. And to be able to do that very well, we need our community who remind us that Sangha. So refuge really is as when we remember the Buddha and his teaching and our friends in the Dharma, and then we could become centered instead of being scattered. So and then with that we learn to cultivate our intention, a positive intention to do the meditation or whatever not for short self and the physical benefit alone, but for the long altruistic, futuristic benefit for all others. So with this, even the meditation should not be just so as to feel good temporarily during the few minutes you sit as you're so stressed, but you got to do that. Not that kind of thing. You just have to do the meditation with a long vision and great purpose. And with this, then it will have many, many ripple effects that are beneficial. So to reflect that, I'll chant the refuge prayer. O yenda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Hate refuge Lajam Bhavachu Ajivandala Ajare Buddha Tuvebi Sanje Chodon Zoje Chonalo Chonju Bado Dane Jazuje Dagejin Soje Besananje Ralape Chesanje Drabajo Yendabu Dama Zanga Haitere Fiete Lajame Bavachu Hajendala Hajare Buddha Hudubi. The one who is able to become centered and have refuge always make sure that they resort to the practice of loving kindness at the first and the last and last of all practices. There's no better practice than to offer loving kindness, to support oneself and others. When you are able to remember the good things, and that kind of overcomes anything that is not. So loving kindness can bring a closer friendship and will make someone, through small acts of your loving love, can make someone supported. So that's a very important practice if you have the refuge. It will keep you in refuge. It will give other people feel refuge when you show the love instead of complaint or what they didn't do right and so on. So loving kindness is so important too. So we need to resolve each day to practice loving kindness, and when we practice loving kindness to people, then we become exposed to their sufferings that they have not been able to, drop. They still are carrying that burden. So we try to sit with them or listen to them with kindness, with compassion. At least they find someone willing to listen. And you may not be able to do much, but the fact that you are able to support them will help them to relieve their sorrow. So compassion is very good, even though you may feel a little bit sometimes emotionally drained, but it's useful to help someone cope with what they can't do on their own. That is called compassion. If you find yourself doing this too, then you will have joy. Your shoulders have no weight on it, and your mind is clear. You see good in things. So you have the fitness to practice joyfulness. And there still will be some in life that you cannot quite get it right, whatever you do. For that, you're not too upset on one, too attached to another. You just treat them with equanimity, thinking some other days you might be able to handle it. Like right now, it's not meant to be, and let it be. Like a piece of log on the side of the road. Keep going. Just drink the sip of water, the river you cross. If you're thirsty, and then don't look back to the river. Just go. So that's the equanimity. So I also will chant those sentiments. Happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering, and the cause of suffering. May they never part from the happiness that no suffering. May they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. Samjön damje dewa dain dewe juda and bara juju danga da dunga ji juda and bara juju danga mebe dewa da meda awa juju nere jada nyeda and ave danya la ne bara juju May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion of those near and far. So bring your attention to sit upright with your hands on the lap, with the right hand inside the left, the two thumbs gently touching below the navel, and rest your back of the hands on the lap gently, not pressing too hard on the thighs, but gently, slightly up. Elbows relax, so are the shoulders. Keep your back straight. And just mindfully position the posture. As you straighten the back, you can see how much aware you are becoming of the posture. Keep your lips, teeth, and the jaw relaxed. Left it very natural. Keep the tongue slightly curled inside the upper teeth. This avoids dryness and wetness in the mouth. Slightly tuck your chin in. Have a soft, peaceful gaze of eyes, not blinking, nor tightly shut, nor widely open, just straight on the floor. Have a sense of being pulled by a single hair toward the ceiling. In this way, you slowly do the scanning of the positioning body in an ascending order. Then you position the body by doing the reverse scanning from the crown down all the way, slowly through the neck and the face, the shoulders, arms, particularly straight back, hands on the lap, then straight on the ground where your body, your feet, and the bottom are grounded. In this way, you scan up and down 1 round. That's the positioning. Knowing during that you're synchronizing all the 4 elements, nurturing the solid, liquid, and gas, and the heat in the body. So the quality of stillness, the balance, awareness, and insight are mobilized. You can time your scanning carefully, not too hurried, not too slow, in a reasonable pace. Do about 6 such rounds, and then take a mini break. Bring the whole awareness just to stay in the posture without entertaining any thoughts. Just keep coming to the posture and do the scanning. You're just minding the body to be in that posture. After small mini breaks, after 6 rounds, keep doing this calmly and mindfully. mindfully, and with good awareness, keep the posture as the base. Now focus your attention to each good phase of the breath. Firstly, take a good deep in-breath mindfully. Do the inhaling, see the good, feel the benefit, and follow the incoming breath going into the lung. Then slowly permeate the oxygen in the lung. Follow it, witness it permeating in the bloodstreams, reddening whole nervous system, rejuvenating, feeling recharge. And then do a long out breath. As you consciously exhale, let go the tensions, fears, worries, bad thoughts, tiredness. One out breath. Watch it go. The carbon leaving your body, feel relief. So in this way, mindfully stay with each rounds without being interfered by laziness, forgetfulness, boredom. Do carefully about 6 rounds at least. And then after every 6 or so rounds, take a mini break. Go back to your posture, straighten the back. Maybe wet the lips or blink the eyes if necessary. And then again, do another bout of another good 6 qualified rounds of breath, the way you do, know, see and feel the in-breath, the permeation of the breath, the exhalation of breath. So you become completely one with the breath. keeping steadily the correct posture. Now during this third section of the meditation, we'll just follow each good qualified round of breathing. Deep in breath, do, know, see and feel. Follow that becoming permeation, do the permeation, know, see, feel, rejuvenating. And then as you exhale, do the out breath, see the carbon and witness the carbon leaving the body and feel relief. In this way, this time you will do forward counting. After each exhalation, count forward as many as up to 21. It's most likely you will be able to do it without losing the count. It doesn't matter if you lose the count. As soon as you do find that you lost the count, take a more conscious, deliberate mini break. Then start again. If you succeed to count uninterruptedly each round up to 21, then take a mini break there, and then do the reverse counting with conscious rounds of each breath, 21, and then 20, and then 19, and so on. This will increase your endurance and concentration, unimpeded by distraction. So try this very technique without thinking it's too hard. You're only doing one at a time. All you're doing is just keeping the count happening. And main focus is doing each round carefully, and then count forward and reverse. How are you all there? Thank you very much. If you have sat through the meditation, it's good that you can relate to that with the talk. Even if you're just joining in, all those people who have just tuned in, today I'm going to talk about how meditation can be very useful emotional stimuli for everyone, particularly in this period of time when we all have the opportunity to stay in our home and then not really wandering about and stay safe, so that we are all giving good social distance from each other in order to contain this pandemic on the social level, as well as how we can really capitalize on this set of circumstances to stimulate our intelligence, our thoughtfulness, our goodness by being able to bring our attention to the present. Because meditation, whether you know any formal form of meditation or not, is mainly bringing our thoughts really together. It's trying to become centered and collected and being really, really thoughtful and sensible and wise, not only when you're sitting in the meditation, but subsequently even more so. Because often people can lose their mind when they're not doing any of the above. So therefore, meditation, I will talk here in terms of those people who do various forms of meditation, but still they become more like a cultural kind of religious practice without actually becoming meditation. Or for that matter, for people who are like New Age type of meditation, try to feel good instantaneously, and or even some of the these days mindfulness meditation is just trying to be so short-sightedly. How I want to feel good and right now, But I want to talk in a more kind of concretely about how meditation can stimulate your emotional intelligence and therefore your overall literacy of the life and the problems we often face, and those set circumstances often I would say provoke your negative emotions. So we want to do meditation how to stimulate the positive kind of untapped resources that is in us. So I will talk in terms of, first of all, meditation requires you to have a place that is quiet and peaceful and away from all noises, preferably out in the bush. And so that's why when you are in this kind of socially distancing period, you are actually kept very safe and distant from many places and activities. Because of that, having to restrain the closeness to some things and keeping the distance, we are somewhat confronted to do just that. We have to do that. I saw on news that one grandma who was going for a walk has been arrested by police, saying because she was not keeping social distance. Of course, some people aren't able to even go for a walk, and they get into kind of a trouble like that. But like that. And what we are talking here mostly is how to use the fact that we have to stay indoors, and not only stay indoors, but actually bring your mind, try to be collected, thoughtful, sensible, and therefore try to use a very useful strategy of meditation. So those of you who have form of meditation, just like we were doing then, mindfully just sitting in the correct posture on a first section of the time, and then just deliberately focusing your mind on the breath, whether you're able to count just half a round without losing the count, and doing very, very stay with that, and as well as do the forward and reverse counting. If you did that method, that's a mindfulness of breath, really mindfulness of breath and mindfulness of posture. That's what really you are doing. So what does it do is it firstly makes yourself, all the senses go tame. And so how does the meditation stimulate for everyone? Is if you actually are a member in a household who actually take that 30, 40 minutes a morning or several times a day, keep that quiet, it actually becomes good for everyone in the household, because you're not always thinking and talking in your head about what they did to me or aren't or doing to me, but rather you actually try to put them all aside, put all them in the past, and not bring into the forefront of your mind, but you just stay alive when sitting in the correct posture and doing the very useful mindfulness breathing. So being able to watch the round of breathing, it stimulates your inner calmness. It stimulates your inner collectedness and togetherness and thoughtfulness. Yes, I can do this. And then your mind becomes very, very positive. Why? You're positing. You're actually asserting this discipline on you, which is very, very positive. When you do positive things, it stimulates all the positive energies, qualities in you that lie dormant. And so therefore your mind is cleared, and as your mind is cleared, you can see what better thought to stay collected with, and what opposite thought from which you are actually distancing. So by being mainly one-pointedly sitting quietly in the posture, counting the rounds of breath, or for those people who do mantra prayers and sadhanas and something like that, those who are doing certain Tibetan Buddhist things, or other meditations that requires you to do some chanting or whatever, when you really focus on the chanting of the mantra, or when you're just doing the visualization, the description of, say, Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, it's really important to say those words, murmur those words. Don't think that I can't be bothered reading the description of some deity or something. Yeah, you're not. You're simply using it to collect your thoughts, to bring your attention what you're doing, so that your mind doesn't incoherently wanders about, which is when a scattered mind doesn't want to do something like that. That's why this descriptive details of the deities and visualizers is given, so as your thought is actually guided. It's rather like guiding the water so that you can irrigate into the field over the other valley. So you have to dig up a canal that can slowly guide the water from the river to that field. Yeah, so you are trying to train your mind so that it actually thoughtfully stays. So when people are doing puja, for instance, there are lots of people who attend some Tibetan Buddhist or Theravadan chantings or ceremonies. It just, you can focus your mind, sit with everybody quietly, and just say the words and stay in the tune of everybody. You hear other people chant with great careful and melody, and you yourself tune it. It slowly will stimulate that you too can be one with everyone, and not try to do self-important things. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, I don't like this. Is so long. See, got a lot of people like that. They're so undisciplined. They're so unsocial. They want to do everything their way, and they can't do anything long enough with groups, whether it's culturally wrong or it's materially wrong or whatever. The mind is so undisciplined. So the meditation is to stimulate the discipline that you lack, and the endurance that you lack. And therefore, whether it's chanting meditation, Yeah, or whether you're self-personal doing sadhana meditation. So quite a lot of people out there I know have daily sadhana commitment, and so just try to stimulate your mind. I heard people, they say, they read the descriptions daily, they can't relate to it, something. It's just so self-important. Your mind is so full of me, it doesn't suit you. It's not so much suiting you. It is try to destroy your deludedness and distractibility and scattered mind. So therefore, sadhanas are master plan. So when you're able to do the sadhana, say even if it's a short sadhana, which takes maybe 20 minutes, or long sadhana, or a bit longer, whatever it is, or it's just like sit. When you're sitting there doing no other forms of meditation, just but sit and mindfully with the properly structured meditation, even though you're not outwardly chanting or doing hand movement or ritual anything, but you're sitting. Some people say, I just sit, but what do? They just keep the mind shut and almost semi-asleep. That's not emotional stimuli. That's just emotional shutdown. It's a suppression. It's a passive an aggression, so to speak, if you like. These people who have to always run away from people and meditate, do those kind of quiet meditation, do not want to do anything faithfully given by the teachers or whatever tradition long enough because it doesn't suit me. Oh, so self-important. Doesn't suit you? It trying to stimulate that is so uneasy to work with the self in you. It is trying to quell that, try to conquer that by the meditations. So meditation is not try to make your little ego or childish ego to be pleased. It is try to train it so that it can forget itself and just be totally one with the technical meditation. Then slowly, the process of meditation is very difficult for everyone, not just people who are learning this meditation, various meditations from other traditions or no tradition particularly, and even for, I would say that culturally Buddhist people like me who are brought up in that, before actually the conscious meditation really started singing, and we were just doing just because it's like a cultural thing, it's you got to say, you got to do, you got to sit there and that's it, and we weren't particularly probably doing it as a meditation motivated by the modern sort of a surge of interest meditation because people are told they have deficiency in their attention and therefore they are not quite reliable in accuracy and speed and productivity and whatever. We weren't doing meditation for any of those reasons. We were doing just because it's religious, because it is how we do, and just sit there. And I think those years of just sheer discipline, sit with others, chant those, has blessed our mind stream because we were not rebelling, saying it doesn't suit me, I don't like this, and I can't do this, all that sort of thing. We just had no alternatives. But maybe that's the problem with people are not so disciplined to stick with a form of meditation, then try to understand other forms of meditation in harmony with that, not this or that kind of thing. So I don't see any conflict with the various forms of meditation, but if the meditation is all purposefully taught how to recognize the discursive thoughts and how to make them impermanent by your ability to distract the distraction. So you come back to the breath, you come back to the mantra, you come back to the visualization, you come back to the feeling that you got to cultivate when you're reciting that. If you're doing that, then all meditations are to stimulate the very distracted mind in order to exhaust your distraction, because you have to do good 40 minutes of chanting, reciting the mantra, and therefore that is the higher concept to quell your other discursive distraction. So it may be the stimuli of the how emotionally stimulating meditation can be during the session, may be quite difficult to handle, because process of the thing is a bit difficult than the product. But if you keep doing that, over years, you will see somewhat the meditation thing you have been doing has shifted your emotional tone about some things or someone, or some memories you have. You no longer have the same degree of hard feeling about it or wrong opinions about it. You realize it's my opinion that I have to change, rather than your wrong view of somebody else, your unkind view of somebody else. You realize so useless and so waste of energy to hold that opinion of someone. Because you, during the meditation, whether it's a visualization, whether it's breathing, or whether it's chanting, or whatever, it has somewhat processed those things in a subtle level. It's like leaving a very sharp piece of rock in a stream for a couple of months, and then you go back and claim that piece of rock. Much of the sharpness and the roughness of the rock has smoothened by the constant touching of the stream. Like that, you are being able to do the meditation regularly, even though during the session you were in a little bit of pain, you were distracted, or you found it a little long, you found I'm in pain. You don't realize the pain is not so much of the body, but more thinking of self-importance. I don't want the pain. I want meditation, but without pain. It's almost like it makes this so hard a condition for meditation to occur. So you gotta almost sacrifice your craving for comfort to meditate, so when you can overcome your distraction, I don't want a pain mind, because I don't want pain is already a distraction. I don't want to do this practice this long is already a distraction. You might be doing that, but the very nagging feeling on the back saying this is going too long, or I can't do this is bad for my back, I'm tired, this is too long, when you're thinking like that, your meditation has already been distracted. So it's very important that when you know that you're distracted, you do not combat with the distraction, but you slowly understand it. And so the meditation is like a medication, Nobody takes medication because the tablet tastes good, because they like the color, or because they like the number, or they like it swallowed. No, they take the medication for the long-term benefit it has to the body. Likewise, you should do the meditation, not because it feels good or this is the right meditation for me. People are often very picky and choosy. They have taken great effort to get an empowerment or teaching or an instruction, something. They really went and learned a lot. And then all of a sudden they said, this is not for me. And they don't realize that how self-important they have become. How that is good, but not for me, because one is so attached to self-importance that the meditation and teaching that are handed from master to disciple last 1,500 years is not suitable to you. Those kind of Protestant Buddhists, who try to do Buddhist meditation, is still bringing that very, very kind of a unstudious student who doesn't want to listen, who doesn't want to follow the practice, and then because their self-importance is not served by it, they're not willing to do that lifting. When Milarepa asked Rechungpa to carry all the bag full of garbage, he asked, as Milarepa is a Tibetan saint and in the 11th century, and his disciple Rechungpa has recently gone to India and come back, has become a bit of a translator, and he was somewhat probably having a bit of a kind of a superiority complex in thinking, I went to India, I learned Sanskrit, I know much better than Milarepa type of thing, even though he was outwardly quite reverential to his teacher. And Milarepa knew how to conquer the Rechungpa's pride. And while Rechungpa was carrying all the luggage, little luggage, but I don't think there will be a lot of luggage. Milarepa is hardly a luggage carrier. But he asked him to collect little pieces of rag or whatever they were lying on the roadside. And Rechungpa thought, why is he telling me to collect all this complete waste of things? And firstly, they're not necessary. Second, it's heavy for me. And anyway, but he was somewhat collecting them, carrying them, and then later on, his bag was getting really heavy, and particularly all of a sudden, Milarepa caused a huge, hailstorm. Remember, he's very good at doing that. And then he caused a hailstorm, and so all the bag and everything became very wet, and the storm was so thick you can't see each other in the storm. And then Rechungpa could not see this Milarepa. He thought he lost. And he was looking around, and he was thinking, what the hell are he making me to carry all of this? Anyway, to cut the long story short, in the end, he can hear Milarepa singing. Milarepa always sings. His teachings and conversation are always done through songs, dohas. We call guru in Tibetan. He was singing the song, saying, he was calling by the name of Rechungpa, saying, if you think you are equal to the Father, which means to Milarepa, why don't you come inside this cozy home I am in? Why you have to be standing, being drenched in the middle of the rain, and outside there so miserable? Why don't you come inside here? If the son is equal to his father, why don't you come inside the yak horn? So but Rechungpa could hear this, but he couldn't see in the storm where Milarepa is, because I couldn't see Milarepa at all. But the sound of the song seemed so close and nearby, and then he thought, maybe my teacher is realized he's able to just disappear and sing. So he started to sort of shake his doubt and starting to develop some inspiration. Maybe my teacher realized. And because the sound is so clear and near, but yet he couldn't see it. He almost could see the sound is coming right from next to his boots. And then he thought, maybe it's on the ground. Of course, there's nothing on the ground. And then he lay flat on the ground. He was looking and then all he could see in the middle of the storm, there with the smoke, is a tiny yak horn on the side. And then the noise, the song, a melody was coming from the yak horn. So Rechungpa went nearer and looked into the yak horn, and he could see inside this tiny yak horn, Milarepa has not become smaller, yak horn hasn't become bigger, but Milarepa is cozily sitting in the yak horn and singing the song, saying, if you think you're equal to me, come inside here. Why you have to be miserable in the yak horn? And then Rechungpa was caught that his teacher is realized, and Rechungpa was becoming a little bit arrogant and not listening to his teacher, and then of course to his surprise, Rechungpa have to acknowledge that his teacher is very, very highly realized. So to do the meditation, we have to see the meditation and the trainings given as a remedy to stimulate to our emotion. Doesn't mean necessarily have an immediately positive effect, like the meditation, the medicine given to us is to check whether it can combat the symptoms of illness, Sometimes there are side effects of a medication. There are reactions, People have all of a sudden some kind of rash happening on the skin or throwing up after taking medicine, and there are side effects. But sometimes people might have that, but they through that then they know what kind of medicine is really going to work. So like that, the meditation practices you do, sometimes you may rebel. Oh, I don't want to do sadhana. I don't want to. Quite a lot of people say that. I mean, they really feel genuine about it. They say, I don't want to read the description. Is this naked red lady who's holding a skull cup brimful of blood? I don't want to do that. These self-important people think like that, They think that I'm a monk, I'm a monastic. I don't want to be visualizing myself as a red naked lady and drinking that. And actually, that's probably he really needs. That's the person probably needs just that. And it's not that teacher gave specifically to that person. Teacher's giving that to every student who come to receive the empowerment. So, but rather, instead, the student is so irreverentially rebelling. Said, why they give this to me? I'm a monk. I have become more important. That kind of thing, so that people who don't understand the teachings and that teach meditation subject like the deity yoga is as a remedy for the ego. The deity is because usually we are but self-deity. We are so self-important. Now the deity yoga is given in order to overwhelm the self-deity yoga, but the self-yoga. And people are so selfishly me. And when the one is made to visualize anything, as long as it's not us, it's good. Probably good to visualize a red naked lady, particularly if you have so much aversion to just that, because you have become so important with your practice, don't you? So often people don't realize this meditation sadhana's teacher give is not deliberately tailored to one student and then putting him or her on the corner, so to speak, on the spot. That has been come down through master to disciple for the last 14 centuries. So none of the teachers are inventing these things to test one disciple per se. They're giving that to everyone, So out of 100 initiates, then there will be a reasonable number of people who will do it, a reasonable number who do it without any question asked, just faithfully. And you can see those who do that and without any kind of skepticism and so on, they will have a fair higher percentage of maintaining the practice. Others who think they are too smart and they can sort of check or something, sure they can check, but they say, why I'm doing this? This is not for me. I'm such and such type of thing, and straight away it meant to stimulate their rational mind, but it became over-rationalized. So meditation subjects sometimes can instigate your afflictions. So sometimes like deities are very wrathful, for instance, very, very wrathful deity. And people don't realize being so egotistical is the worst of all wrath. This fearful deity or naked deity is a teaching. It's a kind of a archetypal symbol of the ego that needs quelling and conquering. So when you're doing retreat, or few days as a study retreat, or just reinvigorating your understanding of the teaching or whatever. People can have a couple of days retreat to do that. Most retreat are limited by length of time or number of mantra or whatever you do, whatever. Even if it's 10-day retreat, you just stick with 10 days. That's it. and then just try to do the process. And after it's just like you're trying to try to make some yogurt. If you want to make a yogurt, you boil the milk and pour the culture, and then you have to leave at least 24 hours or more in a warm place. Maybe even put some blanket around it so that the yogurt will set. It has a duration requirement. If you're making baking, it has a duration requirement. If you keep stirring every 2 minutes, the yogurt would not set. This is what's happening. Quite a lot of practitioners, they want to go for a retreat, but they can't stand even first few days, let alone a month or two, because they're so self-important. They don't want to entrust their faith in the actual meditation techniques. And they try too smart to think they can rationalize something is culturally wrong or whatever that. So there's a lot of that over-examination without actually letting the meditation stimulate the kind of appropriate emotions. So when a person is doing noble silence retreat meditation, they are physically isolated to a quiet, peaceful location. And also verbally they are quiet because they observe noble silence. So that's good. Physically they are not doing this, not doing that, not doing that. Maybe they're observing all the 8 precepts or something. Whether they took the precept formally or not, they just by sheer being in the retreat, they're not doing any of that. That's physically good. Verbally they are, because they're on their own, they're not talking to anybody. Say if you're doing such a group retreat or something, and even that you're all silent, yeah. So you're basically retreating from talking. You're retreating from doing a number of physical things. Say not eating in the afternoon or solid food in the evening, or say what this is just an examples. All retreat got some rules you try to adhere to. Whether it's physical boundary of staying within the compound of the retreat kind of environment, and then sticking with this schedule that is drawn up, yeah, space. So you restrain yourself going outside the boundary, physical boundary. You restrain yourself ignoring the schedule. You actually honor the schedule. You punctually come to do the session. If it's sitting, it's sitting. It's listening to discourse, you listen to. If it's whatever the thing is, and you therefore also observe silent with the group. If it's only silent in the morning, then just observe the silent there. And then, most importantly, when you come to do each of the meditation sessions, and then you try to use the meditation, not to say how good I felt that session and then assess whether you're going to stay next day or something, next afternoon or not. A lot of people are like that, like complete child, completely irritable, so self-important. Is it for me? Do I feel good? This is for me, this is not for me. It's all that kind of, you don't do that. You just let the bread be in the oven till it bakes. So meditation is giving the time it deserves to sit still until it clarifies. If I have a glass of water, and if there's some kind of murkiness, if I leave the glass there, all the dust and sediments will settle and the water will clear. If I keep stirring, how would it clear? So meditation actually is deliberately sitting quiet and away from some other people, and not doing anything but that meditation. That is the demarcated by physically, time, and what you do, what you don't do. And when you do that, that is the kind of process by which the meditation can stimulate the stillness that you lack in your life, steadiness you lack in your life. You do that. You try to cultivate that in meditation. So actually, it is stimulating emotionally the assertiveness that people can't even assert themselves. Let's do this, my dear. Okay, let's do this. Yeah. What is it? It's 10 days? Yes, let's do this. Whatever it takes. Just a wonderful experience. In the end, I can see things more in a different light. With that in mind, you therefore plan to do that meditation. Not only that 10-day would be very, very valuable experience, but valuable not just during but as a result of being able to honor that subsequently, you're able to look at many things of your past 10 weeks, 10 months, 10 years of your life. You will able to see them in a totally different kind of perspective because your mind has been clarified by the retreat. It's just like your mind has been overhauled and renewed and sharpened. So the process of the sharpening, you don't like it, but once the result of the sharpening, you can recollect the kindness of your parents and mothers. You can see good things from those experiences. You can see those difficulties are something no longer relevant anymore, and you can actually sever your mind from that and put a stop to that and no longer go visiting the past. Because meditation has this emotional stimuli. It stimulates your mind not to go there. There is no other place. If you go there, there's nothing there except your mind. So it's all in the mind. But when you look in the mind, there isn't to be found in the mind. Just go to the breathing. Go to the observing posture and do all of that. And there isn't a permanent self that is you that is still suffering what happened, or someone you discovered something happened that you didn't know for years, and then he's done that to you of somebody, and then you say, what's the benefit? Even if you did found out, it's just like waking up from a sleep, whether you wake up from 100 years of dream or whether you're 2 hours of dream, whatever it is you wake up, neither of them are true. So not true doesn't mean it didn't happen, but it's no longer relevant now. So your mind would have some such clarity, such a rational, I would say such a wisdom to not waste thinking those thoughts. So if you are not thinking those thoughts like that, which meditation teaches, then it will greatly benefit to the people. That's what I mean saying. A meditation is an emotional stimuli, good for all. Because if you are like that, you would be not kind of needing to to bring out all your situations to people. Quite a lot of people can't take your situation because as soon as they hear your poor me kind of story, they become stressed. They got enough stress of their own. They don't need another stress from somebody else. But there may be only few that who you are able to talk like that, because you don't want to keep it all in your chest. You want to empty it and maybe hopefully clarify. Someone out of the blue, you might be able to have someone who hears them and do not react to them, do not judge, but simply support you and maybe even help you to move on from that. That would be good. But there are not many people, even those in the helping profession, themselves become more stressed by it because they stay. But there will be some people, particularly those who really have meditated, those who have really understood and realized the benefit and purpose of meditation themselves, and therefore are able to process that for others, and then they might be able to help. So that's what I mean. Say the meditation is very, very emotionally stimulating for oneself and for others, because when you're able to do that, you become much more thoughtful of how to mind your thoughts. You have a particular kind of people talk of boundaries, in the West. Putting a boundary between you and others. You don't need to put boundary with people. Look at the Berlin Wall. What did it do? Or the wall. We have to bring those boundaries down. If you're a meditator, it's not about building boundaries. It is about breaking those boundaries. Breaking those boundaries is the boundary. In a boundary, you say, I will no longer build those boundaries. Breaking those boundaries, and within your own mind there are certain do's and don'ts. You become much more conversant as what thought you will not entertain and share and post. That is meditationally very, very stimulating. You realize, I don't want to think like that. Thank you. I won't think it. I would instead think of this way. Why? You can see. You can now see what thoughts are good to recruit and keep, what thoughts are not good, let alone keeping them and delete them. Some thoughts should be deleted, others should be recruited, and some should be transformed. What are those? The negative thoughts should be deleted. About who? About you? About some? Whatever it is. If it's negative, what does negative thought mean? It is always complaining about something, you know. Whether it's fact or fiction, you're always talking about what he shouldn't have done to me or him or her. All those kind of negating. You know, that's a story. That's a kind of hearsay. Most of the time it's hearsay. So don't waste so much time on that. That's meditation. Therefore, you don't, you delete those thoughts by breathing out. Do a long out breath and say, I'm not going to think about that, about you or him or me or my past, and about that. And as a result of that, I would not talk about it in my head, let alone to anyone. So that's called. So this is a boundary. That's a real good boundary. Then the thoughts you have to recruit are, you should think good thoughts about those places and situation. You have learned so much as a result of those. So try to think of some positive thoughts, kind thoughts, forgiving thoughts. Be generous in what kind of emotion you give rise to them. And through meditation, the meditation is like a sharpener of your mind, you know. When you don't meditate, your mind is very blunt and doesn't do much useful. During the meditation, you are sharpening your knife of the mind. And then next time when you use it, it's very, very clear, you know. Yeah, it says, I'm not going to think like that. Thank goodness. That was our lost years thinking like that. I'm going to wake up from that. So that this kind of self-transformation of your attitude, of your beliefs, of your opinion. People suffer not people. People suffer your own opinion about other people. So if you can change your opinion about other people from negative to positive, from criticism to non-criticism, then you are emotionally truly stimulated by meditation. You no longer will be so negative towards other people. When you're not negative towards other people, you are positive. And if you generate kindness towards them, a forgiving mind towards someone who's very difficult to you, but just still think he's my only mother or she's my only sister, I shouldn't think like that. Maybe she's doing these things. She has lots of karma behind her back, and she just is venting this out to me always. Who else she will do that? Because I'm the only one she has as a brother or mother or sister or whatever. Think like that. You're so generous in thinking like that. See, your mind is now stimulated to generate generosity and acceptance, instead of rejecting and having denial how they shouldn't be like this to me and so on, because they are. If they are, what could you capitalize on them? See, when your mind is good through meditation, it stimulates the good emotions that you need. And as soon as you do, meditation stimulates your good emotions. And what does it do? Good emotion transforms the negative and reconnects with your mother or sister or somebody much more pleasantly and kindly and supportively than previously. You know? You don't have to delete them as a person. Your thought about them definitely need to, yeah. Who need to delete who? Your thought about them. You see, don't confuse people with your thoughts. It's your thought that's bothering, so much so that you can't sleep, so much so that you get stressed. They're not there around. They haven't seen them for weeks and weeks, months. But what's the problem? You can't stop this train of thoughts. Meditation is teaching you how to delete those thoughts. Delete button. Breathe out with bad thoughts about them, and don't think it's them. It's your thought about them. See, this is why even mindfulness of watching the breath is so that, not so much so that you can breathe, so that you can actually spot your thoughts. that needing split deleting, thought that needing transformation, that needs recruiting. When you inhale or think of the kind thoughts about your, say, dad or sister or somebody, as a result of that, you don't feel angry at them or about them, but you send them loving kindness, support. Instead of deleting your own father or your only sister, you just send a loving kindness. Maybe you need a bit of distance from her, but from remote, you're sending loving kindness to her, because she has only you. And you also only have her. Whether you like or not, you have a karmic pact that you made in the past to have each other like that. So therefore, being able to positively cultivate positive thoughts and delete the negative thoughts, and I usually say this, because this is my belief. Be hard on the problem, soft to the people. That's very important. People are hard on the people, soft to the problem. Problem is completely unresolved, and they are still biting each other, yelling each other, cranking and complaining about it. That's not Buddhism. That's not meditation. That's aggression. It will hurt your soul's immune system, your sleep, and your performance, everything. So those people are likely to resort to alcohol because they can't face their reality. So don't resort to alcohol. Alcohol has got many harmful effects. Those who can meditate, who needs alcohol? Alcohol is already an addition to that boosts afflictions, that boosts confidence. Those people who in normal sober, you can but when they have little alcohol, then their all delusions, craving and desire and anger all kind of flares up. So if meditators should not only meditate, but try to drop some habits. We're talking about here habits of thoughts first of all, and then slowly habits of the body, such as dependency on the alcohol. Even on the weekend, what's the good about alcohol? There are lots of good things to relax. You can do many things. Read a good book. Have a good conversation with friends that really makes sense. And it might sometimes be a bit hard for you to accept but it is be good conversation. It can make you to become softer towards the people, and then hard on the problem. That's afflictions. You just try to curtail those afflictions, because after all, true origin of our sorrow are our own actions and our own afflictions. It never says in the teaching, true cause of your suffering is other people and their actions. No, it does. It says our actions and our afflictions. If we really begin to have a good grasp of the second noble truth of the origin of suffering, is your own unskillful action, meaning thoughts and speech, and then the deeds, that those you do, what you do. So if you're able to recognize that, then you have to change your thoughts, change your behaviors, change your negative, deluded thoughts, and try to pause them, try to transform them, and try to delete them. And then there will be some thoughts that are fairly neutral thoughts, and then you need to slowly transform them into positive. So then you are stimulated enough. You become reflexively aware. You become cognizant of your own thoughts, your own opinions. And then if you take that opinion about someone and then leave them without their opinion, they look just as good, beautiful as someone else can see them. But when you bring those prejudicial thoughts, preoccupied thoughts about somebody, that whatever you said or whatever you thought they are, whatever you label them, whatever some people have labeled somebody as a violent or aggressive or abusive or whatever people you think that they are, then you keep seeing that. So you are only seeing what you're thinking. You're not seeing the object. meditation can stimulate you to see that, then you disassociate your thought, your opinions. And when your thoughts and opinions about a person or an object is not sort of lumped onto the person, then person become completely renewed, fresh, your eyes are just unwaxed, so to speak. You're as if you have an eye operation. You can now see very clearly. Before it was all blurred and so on. So you're blurred by craving and desire and anger and resentment and fear and distraction. And meditation is trying to confront that and tell you that. And when you're doing lots of rounds of breath, you will see that. I can barely keep my thought doing this each round of breath one after another. My thought is going on. Like say if you're texting somebody, you hardly read what the people say. You're texting everything what you're saying. So you got to be mindful in terms of that kind of thing. You got to really know, do I really need to say this? Is it good to say? Delete them in your thoughts. So don't write so much. Don't say so much. Just witness them. Just thoughts. And where is the thoughts? You thought you had it, but when you're watching, it's not there. It's gone. So there's no past thought and no future thought. And that's that moment that you can actually seize this luminosity, clearly seeing there is not a thought that is a real problem as long as you are aware it is just a thought. When you're doing that, then those thoughts doesn't have a grip on you because they are example of something that doesn't exist from its own side. From their own side, When you realize the thoughts does not exist from their own side, that means you will be able to a bit more easy on your own thoughts, yeah. So if there are any questions here, I will try to answer. Have a look. Maybe there's not much questions. Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. I haven't done this. I would say hello to everyone. Hello, Rosemary. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Rachel. Hello, Chris. Hello, Philip La, all the way from Dharamsala. And I'm sorry you're stuck there, but we are all in some place. Some of us wish we could go to Dharamsala. Those people who want to be in Dharamsala couldn't go there. Those who wanted to be out of Dharamsala could not get out of there. So that's interesting, isn't it? Interesting. We should understand, but we have to make the best in the worst situation. So the isolation is usually in Buddhism, we recommend people to take periodically, at least 3-4 times a year, try to do some short retreats. I know quite a lot of our groups around the country. They say, "Oh, Lama, we try to have at least one retreat every few months." It's really so inspiring to hear those groups. Try to create at least one retreat every few months. And they used to say that, and it's true. I don't know why we have one, all the 2 days of every week free. That whole idea was so that people have actually time to pause and recollect and think good things instead of working, always so materialistic to try to earn more because, Sunday is double, Saturday is half time and half, that kind of thing. People working so hard, try to be so individualistically successful, but they burn their heart out, working so hard and never give themselves a break. This kind of every weekend is actually based on religious, They say holiday. The weekend is a holiday. Sunday, Monday is mostly a spiritual time. But what do people doing less spiritual things on the weekend? They're doing more decadent things on the weekend. That's the whole thing, So they're missing the point. They're not taking any retreat, even one weekend. They actually during the weekend they become even less kind of mindful. So it is important to capitalize on this kind of time that we have, and therefore use the meditation how to stimulate our positive emotions, and be mindful of what is it that I'm doing, what is it that I'm thinking, what is it that I'm sharing. Is it really useful for me to share this to people, write this to people? Who is me? It's not all about us, but what is the people you are sharing this to going to take benefit that from? You got to really be thoughtful with regard to do that, and that is also quite a meditation itself. You straight away don't want to say that, don't want to say that about someone, particularly if they have been long time ago good friend to you. They say to our past spiritual friends, we should not treat them like the river that we cross and drank the water, we were thirsty, and then we cross with nothing want to do about it. We should not treat like that. We should have some kind of degree of respect, because we did drink the water when we were so thirsty. But we don't want to, we forget that river totally. That's very ungrateful, let alone to complain about the river that you drank before. Yeah, so they say, even if you go somewhere, if you leave some places, and everybody is leaving, we are transmitting. So there's nothing it is not a fault of any individual. But to talk bad things about some places where you drank and where you fed and where you were part of it, that is very ungrateful. Those things have no use. It's got really negative, devastating effect onto others. So therefore, it's important to have that kind of mind that actually meditatively see, I shouldn't do this. Because it will, even if it's one sentient being's little faith is destroyed by us saying negative things about one person, it is very harmful. It is very harmful for somebody's faith to be destroyed by our negative remark, particularly if you name people saying these things. It's not Dharma. Dharma says, don't practice harsh language. Harsh means even if someone did something, don't say about it, because it's already bad enough what they did. If you're saying very harsh critical to somebody, then that is already a harsh language. Remember that, But people don't seem to have any understanding that they too have a responsibility how not to react. Maybe it's in their own deluded opinion only. Maybe it's not even the fact. It's more so that one should exercise restraint in that. In that way, then our meditation is good emotional stimulation in order to say, I'm writing everything that comes to my head, or saying everything what comes to my mind, and what would he do if I say this to him, or something like that. And that's really straight away you learn how to restrain, how to practice restraint. This restraint, particularly from Mahayana Buddhist point of view, is good intent. The good intent. Try to keep the right motivation always. What is my motivation of doing that? If we don't detect our motivation, and that already is a big cause of danger, let alone, however, outwardly the action may seem okay, but deep down, no. If we are able to check our own motivation and then stimulate ourselves in a way to contain and restrain those negative thoughts, then you have actually realized, I'm glad I have a bit of self-control. I have a bit of self-collectedness to, you know. Particularly these days, these days, it's not that you write something or in your notebook and keep in your journal or something like that, I must tell you this. The other day I read this book. I will finish it. I just read this book of Big Love, Lama Yeshe's biography, and they're telling the story about Lama Yeshe being married to somebody and in order to get an Australian passport and so on and so forth. It's probably okay to say this now because that's what they publish in the book. Because both the two subject of the person who married and who married to both have passed away, so it's okay, So it's okay, you can talk about that. Then it doesn't really affect anybody because except some people who are attached whatever the fact that were, So I was thinking, gosh, of course, Lama Yeshe is such a hilarious and very amazing teacher. He would do anything for the benefit of the Dharma, and so it was, whatever the story was. So I was thinking, they wrote that one about that in that book, but there are lots of stories about all sorts of things didn't feature even in this two huge volume. So they usually say, they say history is not about the thing they write about. It's what the historian chose to write and chose to live. So that's quite interesting. So therefore, I will now conclude here, everyone. Thank you for your attention, and try to bring your attention in the meditation, not just to sort of withstand and enjoy your quality meditation, but try to see that the length of time you let the bread bake in the oven has a virtue. If you keep opening the oven and bring out the bread, it wouldn't bake very well. So meditation requires this endurance. So I'm saying this also, we wanted to promote that our usual 10-day annual calm abiding meditation retreat that we've been holding last 13 years down in Victoria, in Gippsland, in our meditation retreat center. We won't be able to do it there because of the restriction of social interaction due to COVID-19. So we are going to do all that in online, and all the details are on our website, www.sakya.com. If you visit that, all the details that we are going to combine, by the way, this year, calm abiding meditation with clarity and special insight meditation combined together. Recently, I taught the clarity and special insight meditation over 2 weekends, but now we're going to combine that in the retreat. So that will be very useful for those who really wanted to maximize and capitalize this lockdown period and do the meditation with us. Thank you very much. With this, I think we're going to finish here. Take care. Some people all the way from Tahiti. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I will do the dedication merits. Om Bade Mere Mewe Hovaraga Da Deva Menzenge Hom Neze Me Aile Bere Da Bil From the Ocean of Bata De Sineze Herenda Maya Na Jijin Whatever Mered I have a group me hobe because the levels to hold the Maya na teaching courage manju shi ne wo ten asama da ba da de la ba follow we all de zambo I sha de ge all de mere me de excellent body chida Teba where na ya danzo where has been bombarding freely without the generation. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Stay safe.